Caitlyn Clark sells out again. Angel Reese can't fill the seats. Even the most seasoned analysts never saw this coming. In less than an hour, a single rookie phenom turned a routine women's basketball exhibition into the hottest ticket in all of sports, surpassing demand levels most leagues only dream about. Fans crashed servers, resale sites lit up with astronomical prices, and entire sections of seats vanished in minutes. Meanwhile, another top star, often hailed as the face of women's hoops, returned to her college stomping grounds for an identical preseason matchup and found nothing but empty seats. How did one newcomer inspire a ticket-buying frenzy so huge that it redefined what's possible for women's basketball, while a rival with equally massive name recognition struggled to fill the stands? And what does this say about the WNBA's future at a time when one superstar alone can rewrite the league's destiny? Buckle up, because the twists and turns in this story are as dramatic as they come, and we're only getting started. Caitlyn Clark's meteoric rise. Caitlyn Clark doesn't just play basketball, she electrifies it. During her final year in college, Clark's three-point bombs and fearless court vision propelled her from a local Iowa hero to a full-blown national spectacle. Critics who once dismissed women's basketball as lacking mass appeal found themselves eating their words. Every shot Clark took felt like a cinematic moment, the ball barely leaving her fingertips before cameras flashed and social media feeds exploded. Rumors swirled early on that she was overshadowing established veterans who'd spent years trying to nudge the WNBA into the mainstream. Some fans whispered about friction behind the scenes, a sense that certain players worried a rookie might steal their limelight. Whether that tension was real or imagined, it amplified Clark's story. Headlines questioned if the league was truly ready for a generational force who played with swagger, but spoke with quiet confidence. None of it slowed Clark down. By the time the Indiana Fever selected her, it was obvious she represented more than fresh talent. She was a phenomenon. Fans had seen glimpses in college, sold-out arenas, record-setting TV numbers for women's basketball, and social media mania that turned every highlight into a viral event. But few realized just how big her impact would be once she turned pro. When preseason tickets for her return to Iowa went live, everything changed overnight. Angel Reese's shockingly quiet homecoming. Angel Reese isn't a pushover. She's an elite forward with a national championship ring and a massive following, thanks in part to her outspoken, fearless personality. Fans saw her as the it factor for women's basketball, someone who could spark debates with a single social media post. Reese even labeled herself the new face of the sport, fueling a war of words on countless comment sections. So, when Reese lined up for her preseason showdown against the Brazilian national team, on the very court where she once carved out her champion legacy, everyone expected a hero's welcome. Shockingly, that's not what happened at all. Instead of a sold-out sea of purple and gold, entire sections remained glaringly empty. Tickets stayed at rock-bottom prices, some barely, cracking $30, and resale listings often went untouched. For a while, fans tried to explain it away. Maybe it was poor marketing, maybe it was an inconvenient schedule, maybe supporters weren't aware of the date. But all of these explanations rang hollow, especially when another preseason matchup, featuring Clark, the same Brazil opponent, and the same window of time, was selling out in less than an hour 1,000 miles away. Reese's social media presence still boomed, with millions of followers liking her posts or retweeting her takes on rivalry showdowns. Yet the same hype that set Twitter on fire didn't translate into real-world excitement at the box office. The question was why, and the answers went far deeper than any single game. The ticket sales tornado. The real shocker in all this lies in the stark difference between two preseason exhibitions, games that typically draw casual fans and only modest interest. Caitlyn Clark's return to Carver Hawkeye Arena became the stuff of legend. Ticketing websites crashed under the weight of frenzied buyers. More than 14,000 seats were snapped up in minutes, leaving donors, longtime supporters, and even casual fans scrambling to figure out how a preseason game could vanish faster than a major Final Four showdown. When the dust settled, resale prices were hitting nosebleed levels of $500 and up. Some die-hard fans claimed they saw courtside seats listed as high as $45,000, an almost unthinkable figure for women's basketball of any level. And yet, in that corner of the internet, These top-tier seats weren't just jokes or publicity stunts. Some people were genuinely willing to pay eye-watering amounts to witness what felt like a pivotal cultural moment. Ticket agents were bombarded with furious calls from donors demanding special access. The university found itself in uncharted territory, juggling the requests of VIP supporters who suddenly realized they might not get in. Meanwhile, sports talk shows buzzed with excitement, comparing Clark's preseason mania to the hype typically reserved for legendary men's NCAA rivalries or huge NBA matchups. In contrast, Angel Reese's preseason event, also against Brazil, barely generated a ripple on the resale market. While Clark's fans fought tooth and nail to snag an elusive seat, Reese's tickets could be had for practically pocket change. Even the so-called premium listings never sparked a real feeding frenzy, prompting social media trolls to post screenshots of empty sections for comedic effect. But here's what's vital to understand. This divergence wasn't about raw talent. Reese is a national champion, a charismatic presence on the court, and a highlight machine. So why did the entire sports world converge on Iowa for Clark's game, while Reese's homecoming cameo seemed relegated to an afterthought? The WNBA's game-changing moment, it all boils down to a massive turning point for the WNBA. For decades, the league has tried everything from star endorsements to unique marketing campaigns, hoping to capture mainstream attention. Although the league has made progress, expanding its fan base, boosting TV ratings, and drawing new investors, much of its growth has been gradual and hard-won. Clark's arrival to the Fever, on the other hand, turned that slow burn into a raging wildfire. Suddenly, networks that once relegated women's games to odd hours or second-tier channels began clamoring for primetime coverage. Talk of bigger sponsorship deals, rising salary caps, and new expansion teams gained real momentum. The WNBA, long waiting for a face who could break through to a mass audience, appeared to have found it. But there's a catch. Does the league risk becoming overly reliant on one superstar? Traditional wisdom says you can't build an entire brand around a single individual, but Clark's gravitational pull is so strong that it might force the WNBA to rethink its entire strategy. Rivalries are healthy, they stoke excitement. Yet if one star sells out arenas while another equally touted star struggles to move tickets, that puts the league in a tricky position. Players who've paid their dues for years might question how quickly a rookie commands center stage. Team owners, meanwhile, face a balancing act between celebrating a bankable new star and ensuring all franchises remain profitable. And fans? They seem to be betting big on Clark, giving her the kind of unwavering demand that even veteran NBA players would envy. Personality clash, media buzz, and fan debates. Part of the intrigue lies in the polar opposite images Clark and Reese project. Clark tends to let her game do the talking. She's confident but not always boisterous. She'll drop 40 points on you with a smile, then humbly credit her teammates for the win. Her social media presence is strong but not dominated by flashy call-outs or heated arguments. Reese, on the other hand, embraces confrontation. She loves a good debate, never shies away from trash talk, and proudly calls herself the face of the sport. Fans either love her swagger or find it off-putting. This approach has helped her stay in the spotlight, tweeting, posting, and going viral for everything from game highlights to pointed remarks about opponents. In the echo chamber of social media, Reese seems unstoppable. She can spark a controversy with one tweet, attracting millions of engagements from supporters and critics alike. Yet, that hasn't translated into the same ticket-buying mania that Clark commands. The discrepancy has fueled endless online debates. Some claim the mainstream sports world is biased, favoring Clark's safer brand image. Others argue it's purely about star power on the court. Fans yearn for Clark's unstoppable jump shots, record-shattering performances, and the sense that every moment with her might be the next highlight of the century. Regardless of which narrative you believe, the debate itself propels both players to new heights of fame. The question, though, is whether Reese can convert that digital clamor into in-person crowds. While some experts say it's only a matter of time before she also sees bigger ticket spikes, others remain skeptical. After all, in the world of sports, hype isn't just measured by retweets. It's measured by fans filling arenas. Hidden challenges and behind-the-scenes rumors. Beneath the swirling headlines, there are plenty of whispered stories that complicate this picture. Some insiders claim that Clark's meteoric rise has made certain WNBA veterans uneasy. After years of fighting for recognition and pay equity, they finally see the league getting mainstream buzz, only to find the spotlight fixated on a rookie. Alleged spats about endorsement deals have already begun. One rumor suggests a prominent shoe brand offered Clark a contract on par with top-level NBA players, causing more established WNBA stars to feel sidelined. Then there are hush-hush stories about coaching staff friction, because so many teams want to schedule marquee matchups. Against Clark, some feel overshadowed. Players in other cities who dreamed of shining in their local markets must now watch as every media outlet gushes over the new queen of the WNBA. Meanwhile, Reese, despite being labeled a breakout star, faces the pressure of living up to her own hype. Insiders whisper that behind the scenes, she's working harder than ever to prove she can fill an arena just as easily as she can fill up a social feed. Sponsorship and advertising contracts are also at stake. Marketing experts say brands look for a player with widespread multi-demographic appeal. Clark's style, combining unstoppable on-court heroics with a humble approach, draws in casual fans who might otherwise ignore women's basketball. Reese, whose bold presence resonates with a younger, edgier crowd, appeals strongly to certain fan groups but may alienate others. Executives are watching closely to see which approach yields the biggest payoff in ticket revenue, TV ratings, and jersey sales. All these internal dramas set the stage for a tense WNBA season, where the stakes are sky high. Will Clark continue rewriting the revenue record books, or could Reese and others close the gap once fans see them dominate on the court? Bigger implications for women's sports. Beyond these two stars, the broader narrative is about women's. Sports finally getting the spotlight it deserves, and what happens when disparities within that spotlight become so glaring. For years, women's sports leagues fought tooth and nail for national attention. They made strides, but the coverage was often overshadowed by men's leagues that have longer histories and deeper pockets. Now, fans are proving that women's basketball can be just as thrilling and commercially viable as men's, at least under the right conditions. Caitlyn Clark's ticket sales explosion is living proof that a great product, compelling storytelling, and a player with a magnetic style can set the sporting world on fire. That said, the uneven results, Clark's sold-out mania versus Reese's under-attended event, also raise questions about whether the system is truly changing or if it's more about a singular phenomenon. Is this a sign that many more players will rise to these heights, drawing massive crowds as the league grows, or will Clark's surge remain an outlier? Economists studying sports fandom are keeping a close eye on the data. If more players can replicate even a fraction of Clark's effect, the WNBA could see exponential growth, bigger TV contracts, better pay, more robust youth pipelines, and a cultural shift that cements women's basketball as a top-tier entertainment product. But that's the optimistic view. A more pessimistic angle wonders if the league will become the Caitlyn Clark show, with everyone else cast as support. Rivalries can be excellent for business, but only if they're competitive. If Clark remains the only one selling out arenas, tension might grow among teams that can't replicate her magic. And if the WNBA can't fully capitalize on this phenomenon, it risks missing a golden window to entrench itself in the sports mainstream for good. The road ahead, a league on the brink in the end, the frenzy around Caitlyn Clark's exhibition game, and the contrast with Angel Reese's quiet preseason tells a much bigger story. The WNBA finds itself on the cusp of a revolution. Television. Networks are paying attention, sponsors are lining up. Fans, both diehard supporters and curious newcomers, sense that the women's game is hitting a new level. Yet, for every step forward, new hurdles emerge. Can Clark continue to deliver the blistering performances that fans have come to expect? Will Reese bounce back with a marketing plan that translates her social media fame into real-world attendance? And how will the league, owners, and coaches balance the mania around a single superstar with the overall health of all 12 franchises? One thing is certain: women's basketball is no longer a niche talking point. It has arrived, forging cultural moments powerful enough to crash ticketing servers and bankrupt your wallet if you crave courtside glory. The only question is whether the WNBA can keep pace with its own momentum, uniting fans around multiple stars rather than just one or two, and ushering in a new era where the crowds don't just come for hype, they come for a sport that has truly arrived on the global stage. For now, we watch with bated breath. Every half-court shot Clark fires could be another round of sold-out arenas and camera flashes. Every bold statement Reese makes could spark a new wave of publicity, good or bad. And with each passing week, the stakes keep climbing, beckoning us to tune in and witness the next evolution of the game. Because make no mistake, the hype isn't just hype, it's a revolution unfolding in real time. Buckle up, because the next few months will decide if women's basketball remains a viral sensation or transforms into a permanent juggernaut. Whether you stand with Clark, cheer for Reese, or sit on the sidelines watching the drama unfold, one truth is undeniable. The game has changed, and there's no going back, so join the movement. Keep your eyes on the schedule, track the ticket prices, and if you're lucky enough to find a seat, hold on to it tight. The story is only beginning, and the pages yet to be written might just shake the sports world to its core. And when it all reaches a fever pitch, remember, this was the moment women's basketball became impossible to ignore.